It's slime time. What? Ah! It's Dragon Quest III. Despite being a big fan of the Dragon Quest series since I was 7 years old playing Dragon Warrior on the NES, I haven't actually played through Dragon Quest III before. And now that it's been remade as one of Square Enix's beautiful HD 2D games, I decided it was time to sit down and play through this thing. As I have said many times before, the original Dragon Quest holds a special place in my heart. Not counting Zelda 2, which I postulated in the Ranking All the Zeldas video, is in fact an RPG, Dragon Warrior on the NES was probably my first RPG I really got down on. I had played some Final Fantasy at a friend's place, and I knew what Phantasy Star 2 was, but happenstance made Dragon Warrior my first real RPG. And over the years, I have played Dragon Quest 11, 9, 8, all of the DS remakes, and a bunch of remakes of Dragon Quest 1. I started to play the remake of 7, but fell off due to how absurdly long that game is. I probably need to sit down and try it again sometime now with this new remake that's been released. They tell me it's a slow burn, but I wasn't expecting it to be quite that slow of a burn. Anyway, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. Let's get into it like mechanically separated chicken getting into an all-beef hot dog. Dragon Quest III was initially released as Dragon Quest III: The Seeds of Salvation for the Nintendo Family Computer in Japan. It was later localized in the West as Dragon Warrior 3 without the superfluous subtitle. The game was developed by Chunsoft, of course, and published by Enix. The game has been remade a number of times for the Super Famicom, the Wii, Japanese phones, the Game Boy Color, etc. The 2D HD version was released worldwide in November 2024. I played it on Steam because I'm a fucking mark. Also, I have never played the original game, so I won't be able to do any big comparisons between the two games. Sorry. So, you know what you're getting into when you go into a Dragon Quest game. The latter games always have new bits and pieces tossed in, but the recipe for Dragon Quest is pretty much understood for every iteration. I'm not gonna baby you, you know about random battles and the attack command and resting at ends and all of that. This is as basic as it gets. What I do want to talk about is some of the more unique stuff in the game and a little bit of the story, so light spoilers ahead. You're the son or daughter of the hero Ortega going off to find your dad and smash some slimes in the fucking mush along the way. You are gonna grind for money and grind for levels, although it's definitely not as grind-tastic as the first game. You can also pump up or pump down the difficulty to make the grind easier/harder depending on your personal sadism level. Shortly after you start your quest, you will be able to recruit some custom characters and create a team of up to 4 party members. Classes include Warrior, good for physical attacks, Thief, not great for fighting but has some great item finding skills, Monster Wrangler, okay fighters but they are great at finding and recruiting monsters, Mage, attack magic specialists, Martial Artist, probably the best all-around physical fighters in the game, Priest, healing magic specialists, Merchant, not great at fighting, but can help you earn a bit more gold in battles. Gadabout, a joke class that can later change class into the Sage without meeting the conditions normally required to do so. And Sage, powerful magic users who can use all mage and priest spells, but in order to change class, you need to find the Words of Wisdom item, which is kind of hard to find. So I want to say that I wish I knew about the critical claim skill that martial artists get a bit earlier in the game, and I will circle back to that in a second. Dragon Quest III allows you to respec your class by visiting All Trades Abbey later in the quest. It's not a proper class promotion like in Shining Force or Final Fantasy Tactics or whatever, you just go back to level 1 as the new class. The reason that you do this is that you'll keep a portion of your stats every time that you respec. So if you level to 40, 50, 60, whatever, and then respec into a new class at level 1, you will retain some of your stats. Do this a bunch and your strength skyrockets. Your hero can't do this because they are stuck as the hero class the whole time, but for your other dudes, you want to change class a bunch of times during the game. This brings us back to the martial artist. In the Dragon Quest games, you are going to be grinding, and you will eventually grind on metal slimes, and metal slimes are tough. They only take 1 damage at a time and usually run away after a round or 2. This makes them pretty hard to kill, unless you have a way to successfully critical hit them. Then they will immediately die. So having the martial artist's critical claim skill is paramount because that thing critical hits 100% of the time. Combine that with a high agility and you will be mowing down slimes immediately. This makes the grind very manageable. My final team ended up being the hero, who managed to hit level 99 by the end of the game since you can't change their class. I had a warrior who had previously been a priest and then a martial artist, so she was physically strong, could use healing magic, and had access to critical claim for metal slimes. My third character was a martial artist who was previously a warrior and a mage, so she had great physical strength, attack spells, and critical claim for smashing metal slimes. And my fourth and final character was a sage who was previously a mage and a priest, so she had all of the magic, but she also had super high wisdom and MP from all of those magic user levels. This team made the late game and post game dungeons and bosses a cakewalk. There is a lot of hidden stuff in this game. You can collect mini-medals to trade in for rare items, you can collect monsters to fight in the monster arena, you can find hidden gear laying around towns and in dungeons, you can find sparkly spots on the world map, and you can find secret spots on the world map. Now, sparkly spots are these blue glowing spots on the world map. When you investigate one, you are given a handful of items. These can be healing items, stat boosting seeds, common gear, and rare gear. There's something like 200 of these things, and a lot of them have junk. When I was 50 hours in, I was still finding copper swords and kilts. It's all pretty annoying actually, truth be said. But I would still recommend against ignoring them because sometimes you will find really rare items like the thinking cap, a helmet that cuts the cost of spells in half. Secret spots are a bit more interesting. Secret spots are found on the world map and look like little clusters of trees or differently shaded mountains or little ponds, etc. These are actually places that you can enter and look around. A lot of them are copy-pasted so they will look similar, but they will usually have chests, hidden items, mini-medals, and recruitable monsters. These are always worth visiting. To make searching for hidden items and monsters easier, you can get a host of spells and skills to help. The thief has a skill called Nose for Treasure, which will tell you how many items are left to find on a map. They also have Snoop, which will point out where hidden treasures, ones that aren't in treasure chests, are located. Monster Wranglers have Animal Instinct, which will tell you if an area has a monster that you can recruit. Sometimes monsters are only available in either the day or the night, as the game has a cyclical day-night cycle. Animal Instinct will tell you if the monster is unavailable at the current time of day, so rest at an inn and come back later on to recruit them. All in all, this game is one of the best times I've had collecting stuff. Sure, some of the rewards for sparkly spots are really lame, but finding mini-medals and monsters is highly satisfying. Let me tell you about this game's presentation. It looks great. I have been a big fan of the HD 2D style since Octopath Traveler was first announced. It just takes that old school 2D look, which I already loved because I'm a crusty old man, and magnifies it with this sheen of gloss. Just absolutely fantastic to look at. This is especially apparent during battle. Seeing Akira Toriyama's incredible monster designs animated with this great HD 2D filter applied is incredible. Even after 1000 battles, I was still glued to the combat, just an absolute feast for the eyeballs. Although, where the hell is the classic golem design? I can't say I'm fond of the design that replaced them in this game. The music also sounds great. Hearing these classic tunes brought to life by an actual symphony is great for the ear holes. Between the graphical feast and the oral treats, we are eating good. What is this tortured metaphor? Game sounds good, end of story. The game is pretty beefy. It took me about 150 hours to 100% it. Some of the achievements, like find all of the monsters and all of the mini-medals, are huge endeavors. But as huge and as daunting as they were, I still had a lot of fun. If you are more of a casual player, you'll still have a hefty slice of old school gaming to sink your teeth into. Damn, I really should have eaten lunch before writing this script. All of these bad food metaphors are so distracting. So that's Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, a hell of a good time. I'm Richard for RPG Fortress. I'll see you next time, and don't forget to hug a cat. Goodbye.